This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we hit the roadmap, Jack, and let me tell you, it's a, wait for it, game changer. Yes, it is. This broadcast astromech over here is EPC 257. And playing alongside me, as always, is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey, Max. It's going great, actually. Had a really good week. But I will start by saying on Tuesday when we ran our MFN night, which is our open, everyone's invited to come night, we went and killed Xeno Analyst. Then we went and did rampages and raiding the Republic there on Ilum. And that, I think doing just that, pretty much everybody got their personal target. Some people switched, and then we went to Hoth and did some rampages there. And yeah, well, why am I telling you this? You were there.
I was. Although I think we're telling everyone else, not just me.
Oh, yeah. Then we just finished our ops night with LOL, and we went and did TFB, and I was on my Sork because I wanted to do that since on my Merc I already had hit Conquest target. And so I'm healing on my Sork, which I feel like I should still have the muscle memory for because I healed on my Sage for so long, but I do not. So I was like, oh yeah. And plus, when I used to do that, it was before we had the roaming men's type heal. I forget what it's called. I could probably tell you right now since I'm still on my Sork. But yeah, it is called roaming mend. So I kept forgetting to use that, and then I kept forgetting to I need to do that thing to manage my force because otherwise I cannot heal anymore. I'm out of force. But that all said, it went fine. We didn't have any healing issues. Smoke was also healing, and he didn't have any of those issues, so he had me covered. But it was fun. It's been a while. It's several weeks since we've been in TFB. And I do like that place.
Yeah, that is a good place. That's always been one of mine.
Well, I have I have 2 and 2 characters and 3 started on Conquest this week. So
great.
I probably will end up with 5.
I may end up with something close to that as well.
Oh, cool. So how has your week been going?
So same thing. That was a good kickoff to the week with Conquest at our mandatory fun night. It is fun to just go off and do Rampage with the guild. I know it's simple, and it seems like it wouldn't be a very interesting thing to do. And we did Xeno Analysts first, so we did sort of a bigger group thing to kick it off. But just running around, keep we got to keep everybody together. But just running around shooting things, and then we fired up Plug DJ and played some songs in there and hung out, and everybody just chatted and. That was a good second hour of MFN that I think worked out pretty well. So I did that last week. I did 5 characters to target, and we hit large target last week. And then it was five characters plus. I did extra on some other characters. This week, because of the rampages, it's a really good opportunity to get a bunch of characters done just by doing that and not having to do expensive crafting. And it's not necessarily expensive if you're gathering all of your own mats, but it can be expensive, and it can be an opportunity cost because you're not selling those mats, which is the way things worked last week. I still expect to get probably 5 characters this week, maybe more points on top of that, just because a couple of these larger target things are gonna hit as well and finish up. Oh, I've not done, like this, the many war supplies. I have not crafted my invasion force for the day. I've got to get that in before the evening is out. And then I will be hitting the many war supplies by the end of the week, probably also on some character. Who knows which one that's going to hit on unless I pay attention to it close. So there'll be some extra points thrown in that way too. Last week I did 5 characters, and the last character I was getting to target, I had crafted a bunch of things, I'd done a bunch of things, and I was still 1,000 points away. So I queued up for a GSF match, one quick GSF match. I did it on a completely fresh, level nothing ship. I always typically fly a gun ship if I've got nothing unlocked, and I was able to do 35k damage. I was like third on the list for damage done. Got 7 medals. Completed, we won the match. Completed GSF. Completed that target. Got like 80% of a level because I was doing this on a level 61 Sentinel. I completed my personal target for the week. I like 5 things all completed just from queuing up from GSF. And just hitting that one thing. So
bring the player, not the ship.
Yeah. And well, I mean, that was just a little bragging on my part. But besides that, the point was don't overlook those, the PvP and the GSF. Just throwing one in there or doing one every once in a while so that you end up getting the weekly done at some point can make a big difference. I don't think we have it for this week, but some other weeks you'll get like 7,500 conquest points for completing the PvP or the GSF weekly. So that can be a big deal. So keep an eye out for that. You can get a lot more than you think. And GSF, there's ways to play GSF that are not nerve-wracking and insane. So hit me up for that if you'd like some tips on that in the future. Enough of that, because we have plenty of other things to talk about this week. Obviously, we're going to talk about the roadmap, but first we've got a little bit of news outside the roadmap that we'll get to first.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
So first up in the news, there is stuff going on the PTS, right? So they did put the new hut ball that has been described in the roadmap and posted in the forums. That is on the PTS. They had a playthrough testing last weekend, both on Friday and Saturday. It came up sort of quick, so not a lot of people necessarily knew about it, but Eric Musco was on, and a few other incognito devs, in theory, were on. And I did see Eric on there. Everybody was sort of chatting with Eric some. I played a couple rounds, 2 or 3 rounds in the new Hutball zone. I like it. I had some feedback. Already we saw a post this week that you can check in the dev tracker, which addresses a few of the key things that I meant to provide as feedback but didn't get around to, but thankfully someone else did. So if you read through that, what they're talking about, if you have not seen that new Hutball match, it will be a little bit different than it turned out originally. These first couple things, with the first couple bullet points in the feedback, were one of my key bits of feedback in summary as I went into there as well, which was, it's cool. It's a cool map. There's lots of ramps and levels and a couple good new interesting effects, but the environment does seem sort of cluttered, and there's these big sort of like there was these big blocks that like columns or structures in the middle. It made it difficult to sort of see what was going on. It's hard to get a sense of the action when you're like down in a hole and there's a big wall next to you and you can't even see where the beam is to see who has the ball. So their first 2 bullet points were they're going to make it less cluttered. They removed those big box stacks and replaced them with force fields, so that it's still blocking off the areas that they want to block off, but you still have visibility across the map, etc. They were really excited, or at least Eric was, about this gravity grapple ability. He was chatting it up. I didn't end up using it. I think it's like something if you're up in the air on this giant platform. I didn't look off the side to see if you're like floating in the air or what, but apparently it's not unreasonable to get knocked completely off out of the map. And if that happens, in theory, there are there are these grapple hooks that you can use to save yourself. I think just don't get knocked off the map would be the solution there. But they seem pretty excited about this, so we'll see if there's more thing. I didn't see anyone get knocked off, and I didn't get knocked off, so I didn't have an opportunity. I think people were going to go and like try to jump off so that they could just see these things and get a sense of them working. But so I don't know. That's a thing apparently. So go check out the grapples. Maybe that's more interesting than I'm thinking.
They need grapples for the lava in Karaga. The first spot of Karaga's.
Well, I grapples are awesome. We need more grapples everywhere. But I did not encounter these grapples that they were.
I mean, that's
that they were
also
using.
place. It's also a place where you should not get knocked back, knocked off.
That
But if you did, it'd be nice if you could haul yourself out of the lava before you died.
that would be nice. Yes, it would. Yeah, watch those eyes of who? No, it's the one of the big defender with the whirling staff that does the knockback. And yeah, you could use a big grapple point so you don't get knocked into the other group next to you that you're trying not to aggro. That would be great to not do that. So what else is up in the news, Seema?
So remaining bug fixes for Gods from the Machine likely will be in 5.9.3, and basically they fixed some bugs where I guess some of the nightmare stuff they've been working on had made it into the release, and they're checking and going over, making sure that bugs that are surfacing now haven't already been fixed, and the fixes look like they're going to be in 5.9.3 basically.
Got it. I do hope they tune that up. In theory, the Gods from the Machine is going to be quite interesting and get even more interesting in the near future. We'll get to that in the roadmap, but we got to have it working correctly if that's going to be part of it. How about guild news, Seema?
In guild news, well, we mentioned last week, but there is going to be a mega for September. It's going to be on Saturday, September 22nd, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's going to be Imperial Fleet pod racing.
That's not what the note says, Seema. What time? Saturday, September 22nd.
9 p.m. Eastern.
I don't understand.
So we're doing it on Saturday night as a kind of a change up so that people who regularly cannot make Friday night, they could possibly make a Saturday night.
Saturday night's all right for fighting.
Yep. I'm anxious to see how this fleet pod racing is going to work.
Yes.
I'm very intrigued.
Marcus will be setting something up. I have done pod racing events in Star Wars The Old Republic before. The fleet's a little bit of a small place to do it, so we'll have to sort of see how we do it. Hopefully we'll be doing it around the outer ring, and we'll get a couple refs. Last time I did it, I think I did it with Passionately Casuals Guild, and I think we did it on Ilum, where we are right now. And I think we did it all around this area where the Gree are, but the Gree weren't there, so there was no mobs to aggro. And and we were going all around the north area of the map, and it was multiple loops, and you can map it out and do it and figure it out. It'll be fun to do it on the fleet because a lot of people will be there as an audience, which we hope
they could view our guild tag.
If only they could inspect our guild tag. That pre-show is bleeding into the show, and we'll get to it in the roadmap. But it was a feature coming up that we'll talk about from guild management that I wasn't excited about, but everyone's convincing me is incredible. Also in guild news, AIE-guild.org. Check it out. There's a new blog post up. Abavan put it together. I helped a little bit with it. It's mostly focused at our WoW teams because they have brand new raids coming out, but certainly could definitely apply to our Star Wars teams as well, because we have raid teams, ops teams in all of the games. And it reminds people about some of the tools that are available to advertise your ops team, to recruit members, and all those kinds of things. You get a view of how that works for AIE if you want to look. We used to have forums. We do not have forums anymore, so this is a little bit of a twist. This is how quite a few guilds are running their raid recruitment and raid advertisement and free agent advertisement and the kinds of channels. There's about 5 or 6 different things we list that you can do. So there's that. But definitely check out the guild site on a regular basis.
Also, this Sunday is the AIE podcast. They do their podcast every other week or so. But this Sunday they're going to have a focus on SWTOR, so we'll have a couple people on there from our corner of the guild, Marcus being one of them, and the second one to be named later.
A player to be named later, a free agent. All right. Did we not volunteer someone
I saw you asking, but I didn't see the results, so
I
I
did
don't know
not,
the answer
and I
to that.
meant to ask earlier in person too, because that's the best way to do it. You ask
Yes.
an individual in person, and you stare at them silently until they say yes. In community news,
Also,
what's that?
but before we go, also tomorrow night, Friday
Oh
night,
yes,
we're doing Dent is doing a Flashpoint, fantastic Flashpoint Friday or something that involves 3 Fs. But anyway, they're going to run some Flashpoints. It'll be basically whatever people want to run who show up. So also starting around 9 p.m. Eastern
what
on
time?
Friday night. So depending on what
Understand.
when you hear this,
Time
you may
zones.
miss it already. But yeah, if you're around on Friday and would like to write some Flashpoints,
Yes.
run some Flashpoints.
Yeah, I'm sure anyone from anywhere. You don't have to be AIE. Jump in. Check us out. Hit us up in tweeters or our guild Discord, aie-guild.org. Up in the top link, you can get on our guild Discord that way. Come run some flashpoints for fun and profit. In community news, there's a lot of community content, a lot of blog posts up, videos, streamers, all focused on this roadmap in particular. There's some interesting pieces of the roadmap where BioWare is being a little bit vague still, so there's a lot of room for speculation, a lot of fun speculation in all of those roadmaps, so go check it out. For example, they didn't announce specifically what the new planet is that's coming, but they left a lot of clues, quite a few, enough that a lot of people are pretty sure they know what planet is. Go check out those podcasts. I'm not all that good at that speculation because I haven't read all the comic books that they're referencing, but
Right.
that's a good place to go find out what's going on in the community and support the community of content creators around Star Wars: The Old Republic because they are awesome. And shout out to the chat room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Max, back in the day when we didn't have a chat room?
And we didn't have video. Now I'm thinking back. We started it. We weren't live. We had no video. We had no chat room. That was sad times.
Those were dark times, man.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, that's a good point. It is very fun having a live chat room. It makes the show more interesting for us. And things like the chat room saying, "Don't forget Dent's Flashpoint Friday this week."
Right. Or we can't
like
hear
60
Seema.
seconds ago. Or yeah. Oh, there's no audio coming from, from anyone right now. You might want to fix that. Those are good pieces of information for us to use. So thank you very much, chat room.
That's right.
We really
I can
appreciate
remember
you
a few times where we would be like a half an hour in and we would have to start over because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we weren't recording.
We've done that a couple times, haven't we? But way back in the day. So that was like 3 years ago now, last time we did that. But
so anyway, we do appreciate you, chat room. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for coming. And with that, we can talk about the main event.
Game changer.
Game changer. Game changer.
Game changer for.
Game changer for the industry.
It's a game changer. It will be a game changer. So yes, hit the roadmap, Jack. I was telling everyone before the show. I went through and looked up all the past classic songs with the word road in them and picked one for this time. Next roadmap, which Keith has promised before the end of the year. We'll have to pick another one, maybe something like Take Me Home Country Roadmap or something like that. This week,
I totally think
we
I
have
love
a
that.
game-changing roadmap that is up. So
Going to change the game.
we're going to continue to just mess around here and do our rampage while Seema and I'm already up to 82 on Ilum. Does that sound right? Did we kill 82 things already?
Or
did I have
been keeping close enough to you?
Maybe I had some from a previous day.
Because I've been like looking at the notes and stuff.
Oh, I've just been winging it. Doing it live. I mean, what the heck? Notes schmotes.
Oh, but I only have 2 monitors. That's what it is.
I actually have 4 screens in front of me right now. That's how I do the
Yes,
podcast.
I know.
And my
so
phone.
I have like
But yeah,
I
your
have
phone,
the,
that counts as a screen.
but okay. I could put OneNote on my phone, I
And
guess.
you can always ask your cat. I don't have a cat here. Hey, cat.
So if I'm looking at OneNote, it's covering up my game because I have on the other monitor, I have the chat room.
So yes, we have a roadmap. We did get a roadmap this week. They finally got us a roadmap that they had been promising. They did a live stream associated with it. So we're going to go through the roadmap in some amount of detail. We will go through a little bit of a tiny bit extra that came out of the live stream, although most of it was just reinforcing the roadmap. And we will give a little bit of our analysis and commentary and how excited we are, because Marcus is super excited about the roadmap. I'm excited. I just don't think I'm super excited, so we'll explain why. The name of the roadmap and the game update that they are trending towards is update 5.10, and it's called Jedi Under Siege. And the first thing everyone noticed in calling it Jedi Under Siege was that name has been used before in the extended universe. So there is a Young Jedi Knights book subtitled Jedi Under Siege, which is now Legends. It's not canon, and it's post Return of the Jedi. And it was Luke and two young Jedis, which were the Solo twins, going off and doing some stuff. So apparently they needed to defend this Sith Academy from some bad guys, etc., etc. So I never read the book, but here we go. Here's the cover, Jedi Under Siege. I found it a little bit weird that they picked a name that had already been used in the extended universe. It's not canon, so in theory it sort of doesn't conflict, and maybe that's a reason to go ahead and do it, to sort of wipe it out to help erase it from canon, from the search results, do a little bit of anti-SEO on top of it. But I don't know. That was weird. But beside the point. So roadmap. Do you want to kick it off, Seema? The biggest thing is the story, right? That's how they let it off. So what's the story? What are they laying on us? What are they cooking that we need to be smelling, Seema?
Oh my gosh. Well, it doesn't bug me at all that it's called Jedi Under Siege. I don't know why. I guess because it's just 3 words. Jedi, no title can ownership of the word Jedi, and Under Siege. I don't know. It just seems generic and common enough. But yes, I'm kind of excited about it, but it's kind of because of the way they couched it, right? Like they said, an ancient Jedi world, but they didn't say what world, so that immediately got me looking at, they gave us the clue that it was a planet that had been through a cataclysm, and it was in the original Tales of the Jedi comic, so it wasn't that hard to find what planet this might be. They put the clues out there, but that was a fun little search.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited for a new daily area.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of separate and Imperial storylines. Here's what I hope, though. I hope that the daily area is in the style of Black Hole or Oricon, and not in the style of IOCAF. And when they say separate Republic and Imperial storylines, I hope they mean it. I hope it's not mildly different, because when they put it that way to us, our imaginations go wild.
Yeah. So the way they've described it is, there is, let's see, what did they say? So they said it's going to kick off with a bang on an ancient Jedi world. It's ravaged by cataclysm, past centuries.
Ancient Jedi world.
And you're going to be aided by the ancient Jedi. There's not just one ancient Jedi world, but whatever. Exciting new characters are going to join you, including a powerful Jedi veteran, not Revan, parentheses, written in the roadmap, not Revan, who will join Republic players on their mission to protect a hidden Jedi base, and a deadly commando who will aid Imperial players in their mission to destroy it. So I think it's very clear there, the difference between the Republic side and the Imperial side stories. What the Republic side story is going to be defending this base. The Imperial side story is going to be attempting to destroy it. I don't know how they're going to resolve the way that story plays out. If is there a set outcome that the base gets destroyed or it doesn't get destroyed, or will it depend if you're playing Imperial, do you destroy it? If you're playing Jedi, do you defend it? And then is it in some weird Schrodinger state for the greater story? It's Schrodinger's planet.
I've run into this in many games. There's many ways that they could reuse stuff and make it very similar. So.
But regardless, so there's two things going on. That seems pretty clear. There's also, they said, returning, which is an interesting part of it to drill into and speculate on, returning fan favorites, and then these two new characters in particular. Now, this might not be the only two new characters, but the two that they said specifically, and this is new, is a powerful Jedi veteran, which is a new character. So I'm expecting something along the lines of a developed character like Lana Beniko. So there'll be a new Jedi veteran. And this one confused me a little bit, the second one, which was a deadly commando who will aid Imperial players in their mission to destroy this Jedi base. So commando to me means something very specific in SWTOR terms. It means a trooper commando. Seema pointed out that commando can mean other things too. It can just mean, just a military person, or someone going commando, or whatever the case may be.
They're just using the word as it's used in the English language and not in our specific jargon.
If they are doing that, then that's a little bit of a mistake in my view. Why would you do that? Because if you say it's a commando, if you say it's a Jedi and a commando, you can't.
It's intriguing.
You can't. You can't.
It's got us wondering.
That would be like, a Jedi and a scoundrel. Now the scoundrel's also a Jedi, but we just decided to use scoundrel because it's it's a descriptive term
because of his personality. Yeah.
Because
right. No. I'm not saying it's probably that. I'm just saying it's possibly that.
Anyway.
Of course, Apollos said that he knows who that personality is going to be. It's going to be Cephas.
Well, but we pointed out these are brand new. But the other part of it, so we can announce Cephas. The other part of it is the return of several fan favorite characters. So this is where everybody gets to speculate, and we will announce here for sure the return of two characters in particular. One is Apollos' fan favorite, which is Cephas. So Cephas is returning, and number two, what do you say, Seema? Who's number two? Who's returning?
It's Terror from Beyond.
It's not the Terror from Beyond as a Jedi.
That
was not
it.
Favorite. The Terror from Beyond as a Jedi. No, it's Malgus. Malgus is coming back.
As a Jedi?
No, not as a Jedi. Forget the Jedi thing. There's a Jedi and a commando, and they're brand new. And then there's a bunch of fan favorite characters that don't have to be Jedis or scoundrels or commandos or anything.
Well, then why did you say as a Jedi when I said Terror from Beyond?
Well, because that's what Apollos said in our ops night tonight.
No.
He said
Darth
from Beyond.
Malgus for sure, but I also thought maybe Satele Shan.
Yeah, a few people have said Satele Shan. I think a few people looked at that veteran Jedi and thought Satele Shan.
Or both of them.
But I'm not reading that. Yeah, but I'm fine with that. I like Satele Shan. I hope she comes back. But I would love to see Malgus come back, and that's what I'm what I'm betting on. That's where I'm putting my money.
But also return. I mean, return doesn't necessarily mean they've been gone either. It just means they're returning, they're reprising their role from the previous, so it could be Lana Beniko and Theron Shan, and
yeah, it could be.
I'm not predicting that, but just saying.
I think Malgus would be the most epic return possible, though. So I think that's what I'm going for.
But maybe it's going to be Darth
Mar
as a ghost.
He already returned as a ghost. He was a little
bit
boring. But I
mean, because him and Satele have this relationship now, though.
Yeah, they're like best buds for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So he already returned as a ghost. He can return again as a ghost, I guess. But, no, I need Darth Malgus back.
No.
We're confirming it here right now, so you can take that to the bank. The other part of that intro that got me just a little bit, which is relatively obvious, they're not really hiding it, is the last sentence of that introduction of the story part is, over the coming months, we'll bring you more details about the planet and offer more insight about the conflict. So over the coming months, we're going to hear more information. Now, I think they're still talking about 5.10 before the end of the year, but got not that many months left in the year, so
Right.
I hope they're not going to slip, and I hope the coming months mean September and October, and it comes out in November, maybe December. Otherwise, it's not this year. That's the way calendars work, just so you guys know. So that's that. Then they go on the second section of the update. They talk about gameplay and quality of life. So they go through a few different things in terms of gameplay and quality of life. So there's a little bit of intro section, and then the bottom half of the roadmap goes through a bunch of bullets in detail.
Right.
But I did highlight a couple things just out of that intro section. They do talk a little bit about what their mission is, what their vision is for thinking about gameplay and quality of life. And it is that they would like to continuous improvement on the quality experience and enhancements to quality of life, and make that a continuous rhythm of delivery. And that, again, finishes with saying, in that first paragraph, on a more continuous basis over the coming years. Now, there's one sort of little side benefit I'm in my ear, which is, if you say, we've got this plan, this is how we want it to work over the coming years, that's good for the game. And that's good for us as players to hear. And that's good for a producer to be saying, this is my vision for the coming years. That's nice to hear. I mean, we all know anything can happen. And in fact, we heard in the news this week that a game studio, which is producing a big MMO, is shutting down, and WildStar will be no more, which is sort of sad. We don't like to see that with any MMO. But here, to have producers thinking in terms of years into the future, and we've got content that's getting delivered, and we've got a commitment to things like Star Wars a Celebration coming up next April in Chicago. Be there, I will. That is good to hear. So what did they list off, though, in terms of the things they want to continue to focus on? Weapons, armor, PvP, war zones, guild systems, decorations, Galactic Starfighter. Was there anything that you saw in there, Seema, that you were like, they missed? Or
Well, since we're talking about gameplay and quality of life, I like that they put Master Mode, Gods from the Machine under gameplay, as opposed to content.
Okay, that's a good point. Because yes, throwing a master mode in there is not. Don't chalk that up. Don't give yourself a pat on the back because you just created a whole bunch of new cool content.
Or, I just felt like it just showed a demonstration of understanding, what gameplay is like for us. It's like, yes, it's the experience of playing the game, and the experience is heightened or made unachievable by, changing the modes. So I don't know. I just thought that was a good touch. And the fact that they're talking about quality of life, they have talked about it before, but I like that it has sort of equal standing with the story. It has its own section. It's not like new story coming and then a few bullet points for the rest. It was like new story coming, gameplay and quality of life coming.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yes, continuing in that section, they did list off Master Mode, Gods from the Machine will be part of this, and that is in theory coming with Game Update 5.10, and it is expected to be on the PTS in September. So that would be interesting to see. This is intended, and this is the part that I'm not as excited about, is to be the most difficult boss fights ever experienced, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be terrible and horrible, no good, very bad operation. That's going to hurt and be painful. I'm afraid, as with any of this kind of content, it does two things. I think it's valuable, and I like that it's getting created. But I think even with that, and the value isn't 100% in the people that are going to play it, because I think only 5% of the population is ever going to set foot in Nightmare Gods from the Machine. And I think that's a little bit of the downside. I'm glad that it's getting done, though. And I'm glad there's what's coming next that we'll talk about, which is the gear update as part of that, because that allows there to be something that everyone can strive for, even if you're never going to go do it and you're never going to get there. There can always be something else out there.
Right.
And I think that's also important for the top tier people who are going to get there and can do this and can progress, because those people bring a lot of value to the game as well, because they're going to need to get out the simulators and tune up their gear and min-max. And then when they go and do that and they bother to go and min-max themselves, then they post that on a blog post. And then I get to look up, I just rolled a brand new Marauder. What should my stats be? I'm not going to simulate to run a simulator for myself, but I can use theirs because they're out there doing that. So I appreciate that. So I think that's a good part of it. Are we going to is our Thursday night ops team going to go off and do Master Mode Isaacs when it launches in November or whenever? Probably not. We haven't cleared veteran anything in Gods from the Machine yet, but we haven't bothered to go back.
So possibly not. Yeah.
Now they are talking about the next thing, which may make it interesting for us to bother or think about it or to take a look, which is the next tier of gear. So do you want to describe that a little bit? This is a little bit of a mystery still too, but do you want to describe that a little bit, Seema, and what your thoughts are?
So they've announced a tier 5 for gear, and they said in the live stream that and it's going to be crafted gear that you craft from schematics. In other words, you don't learn it from the trainers. And they did intimate on the live stream that the source of the schematics is probably going to have something to do with Master Mode.
Yes.
Nightmare Mode. Gods from the Machine. So that's very understandable. I mean, so basically I think they're thinking that an ops team that's going to push through to Isaacs, they're going to need to farm the first few bosses to get the schematics to keep building their tier 5 sets to be successful in Isaacs. I hope that's true, by the way. I hope they don't just raffle stop it, but I guess they...
Yes. I hope that's true too. And I know Matt Pusevich is, can be a sadist when he wants to be.
If anyone can prevent that, it's Matt.
So I'm hoping that that's the case too. In fact, I would, if I were Matt, I would take at least the Isaacs fight and mathematically tune it so that it's impossible to do in full 248 gear. and make it so that you have to have 252 gear in order to even have mathematically be able to beat the enrage timer or whatever you need to do. That's the way I would play it. And then if you need to tune it back, in the future, because nobody can kill it, or only the top 1/10 of 1% of people is ever killing Isaacs, well, you can do that after the fact. But make it the wall. And this is an MMO strategy. This is an MMO content strategy, which is go and start farming the first boss and kill the first boss and get some of those schematics and then start building the pieces and build up and start gearing up your team. And then your team's going to gear up enough that they're going to be able to go and get the next boss. I don't know if they'll gate the way the schematics drop in that way, but that would be an interesting way to do it. And that is a way that MMOs have potentially worked in the past, where you start needing to go further and further each week and gearing yourselves up to be able to progress further and further. And not being able to progress until you've finished that process of gearing up.
And what's weird about this too is it kind of implies that when you do kill Isaacs on Nightmare Mode, your crafted gear is going to be better than whatever he drops.
It does imply that, which I think you're right. That is what they're saying.
But there's a little bit of mystery shrouding this tier 5 gear, so we'll wait for more details. Like for instance, I think it's going to be regular moddable gear that these players, when they get the schematics, they can make it for each other, they can gear out their team, they can sell it on the AH and make some credits. It'll filter down to us if we want to pay for it. That's how I think it will work. But, we don't know. Maybe it's going to be not moddable. Maybe it's going to be bind on pickup when you make it.
So it's
more information to come.
Yes. And that's where a lot of the speculation is coming from, and a lot of the the early speculation where people are rage quitting as a result, whatever. without even knowing what they're doing yet with this. People are guessing and saying it's the worst decision ever. I think I will let them develop this a little bit. The kind of feedback that is coming back so far, which is if it doesn't have set bonuses, that's weird and it's not going to be best in slot anyway, so we're not going to want that. If it's non-moddable, that's weird and we're not going to like that either, because we don't want to have to farm this up on every single farm or create it for every single character, because we're all playing characters on both sides, and I want to be able to share the gear between my trooper and my power tech. So don't do that either, BioWare. If it's also super hard to get and you're going to force PvP players to go do PvE, that's going to make people mad. So a path for PvP is something that people are interested in. And then if it's the other thing that people are already angry about is, have they confirmed that you can sell it on the GTN? I thought they did somewhere. I was trying to look in the stream notes. Progression system, crafted tier, make your own top tier gear. So I guess they did not confirm either way.
I didn't see a kind of confirmation, and then I read through the sort of live blog notes on Dolphy, and I didn't see anything about that. But
yeah, okay, so
I could have missed
it. I went through the live stream again this afternoon. I don't think they confirmed, but if it is able to be put on the GTN, then people have concerns about that on both sides, or concerns and requests on both sides. One is, if I'm never going to do master mode, I would still love a path to be able to get that stuff. So then allowing other people to craft it for me or put it on the GTN or something like that, even if I have to pay 10 million credits for a pair of boots, maybe that's fair. But then the other side of that is people saying, well, that, then you're going to have just the, wealthy players that play the GTN be able to get in all 252 and, ahead of the people that are doing the work. Doesn't feel very good to us as master mode progression people. And then you have the irrational people.
They won't be ahead of the master mode people, because they'll be the ones making the gear.
Right. Or at the same speed as the master mode people.
They'll
definitely be ahead.
have better gear than the people who are slogging through heroic or hard mode and trying to get ready for it.
Yes. And then I think the most irrational view is, if you do that, if you allow it to be on the GTN, then Star Wars is now pay to win, because I can then buy hyper crates off the cartel market, sell all of those items in game on the GTN, and then buy the 252 gear and then go into PvP and be awesome. Now you've made the whole game pay to win, and I quit and I already deleted all my characters. So that viewpoint is out there as well. In no way is that really that's not really how pay to win works. That's not how pay to win exists. Yes, there is some connection between cartel marketing credits, but also the difference between 242 and 246 in PvP is not very big. And the difference between 248 and 252 in PvP will not be very big either. So even if you're saying, I'm just some scrub player and I buy a bunch of gear off the GTN and now I'm going to go into ranked PvP, that's not going to make me a good PvPer, and I'm not going to win. So I am not paying to win in that case. So there's that.
Paying to lose.
Yes, there's pay to lose. So our Eve team was lamenting that, because you can pay for things. There's a much closer relationship between money and ISK and credits in game and the things you can buy. And the things you buy in Eve always get destroyed anyway, so you're only paying to lose those credits. You do not. There is no paying to win in Eve. You only lose. The only way to win is not to play. That's the way Eve works. That's your ships are already destroyed. You just haven't seen the hilarious way it's going to happen yet.
That it's going to happen.
So what else? What else in gameplay and quality of life? Then they focused on the guild experience. So here's a good one that it sounded like some people really excited about, and I'm glad they're taking a look at it. I'm not that excited about most of what I heard so far. A couple of things I am. So let's go through that. In the bullet points on guild improvements, they broke it into two chunks. One was system improvements. I think that's more like features they're adding. And the other one was management and communication improvements, which is sort of more improvements to the way you manage the guild. Which one do you want to take, Seema, and I'll take the other one? You take the first one because I'll do my little ranting on the second one.
Yes, yeah, you can rant.
It's not
So
really
in the new systems they are talking about, they're going to have guild progression, meaning that your guild the guild itself as a body can move forward, like gain levels. And then presumably there'll be perks associated with that levels. What they haven't said is if the player needs to also earn levels within the guild to have access to those perks. They're introducing guild heraldry, which they weren't able to say a lot about, other than that you won't be able to draw freely whatever you want.
If you know what I mean. Because you know what happens.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yes, because all you children drawing, smiley faces rudely on the walls. So yes.
And then they also said that guilds will be able to challenge each other somehow to PvP, and not just like freeform PvP, to all the PvP games that currently exist, as in the impression that I got. So yeah, that's an interesting twist.
Yes, that is an interesting twist. So the PvP challenge system, custom Warzone arena and galactic starfighter skirmish matches,
easy for you
and
to
tracking
say.
your record against other guilds. That's a fun little thing. So that's an interesting little system, especially for the PvP focused guilds, to be able to do a little head-to-head competition. So
yeah,
that's cool. Heraldry, I think, is sort of cool. I mean, that'll be fun. This reminds me of the chat room on the stream, the live stream. And this is one of the things that I don't know why it was posted like 50 times, but when will we be able to carry banners into PvP combat? Do you want to do that with your guild heraldry? You have to like carry a little banner as you're running around. I don't know. I think guild heraldry.
Apparently somebody does.
Of like, guild tabards, or those banners that hang off the wall that are like the neon banner things. Those are cool. You put those in the stronghold. I think that's the cool thing. The progression system, I'm hesitant to get super excited yet. I want to hear more and hope that there's a way to make it interesting and alive. What I've seen from progression systems in other games is, okay, here's the guild progression system. Okay, yada, 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 we do the thing. Now our guilds progress to the cap level, and that's it. And then we don't really ever think about it again. So if it's just, I don't care. I don't care if it even takes 5 weeks to get to level 5 or whatever. If you get to the end and then it gave you some perks and you never think about it again, then that's not all that interesting. If there's some component to it that makes you, happy that you got it, or makes it continuing to be interesting, the progression system continuing to be interesting after you've hit the cap, and it doesn't turn into just, another, social points, then I think that's interesting. Because here I am, I'm only social 3 on my Marauder, but I'm social 10 on my Trooper, and I haven't looked at social on any character in years. So I hope it's not.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what that's going to be.
Yes. So the second section is guild management and communication improvements. So here's the 5 things, and this isn't necessarily the only things, and that's why I'm holding out to potentially be more excited if they will finally give me something like better key management for my guild stronghold and my guild ship. That would have made me really, really, really excited.
Right.
What's made me only mediocrely excited is what they gave us so far, which is Number one, which is probably the best on the list, is this inspect tool, which we don't have a lot of information on, but it says potential members can review guild profile and information. So maybe as we're running around here on Ilum and we're killing things, if another player saw how awesome we were at killing and said, "Who are those cool people? They're in this AIE guild," they would be able to use this inspect tool in some way and say, "Okay, here's some information about the AIE guild. Maybe you want to join." We don't get most people joining the guild from in-game. Maybe this is why we don't, because there isn't a system like this. But that's not the way people seem to find us. We don't advertise in general chat and that kind of thing. But still, that's interesting. Slightly less interesting, but still interesting, is logging. So logs and displays with a wide variety of guild member activity. So maybe if I'm post Conquest reset, I can still see who are my top contributors last week. Yeah, okay,
Right.
That could be interesting. Then, slightly less interesting for me, down one more down the rank of interesting, member mail, an easy way to send messages to the whole guild. Meh. I'd see no reason I will ever use that. Maybe somebody will. Maybe we'll have a reason to. Maybe there's some interesting way to use that in game for just message. Maybe we can attach some things and give presents to people. That would be sort of fun.
Yeah.
Although,
True.
yeah, I don't know how you can attach something. We've got like 900 characters in the Imperial Guild.
And not only that,
That's actually not going to work.
in a month, 400 of them would come back.
Right. So member mail, we use guild communication. Our guild is split across both factions for one. So we would be sending the messages twice. Again, not terrible. But we use Discord. And we post things in Discord, and we post things on our blog, on our aie-guild.org blog site and things like that. That's our guild communication. We talk to people that way. So again, not all that interesting to me. And then the last two, even further down in the ranks of interesting, are member ban by legacy. I see the value. Some people may get good use out of this. Luckily, we barely ever need to kick anyone out of the guild. So while I don't dislike this feature, I'm glad we will not have very much use for it. And then the last one is increased rank cap, which means the number of guild ranks you can have in the guild rank system is increased. I see no use for this whatsoever.
So what would be more exciting there is if they would have said changes to the guild system that makes it easier to create new ranks or delete old ones, or et cetera, et cetera. Because right now, one of the reasons we don't like to create new ranks is it's a painful process to get them all lined up again.
It's a little bit messy. It's also anything to do with guild management right now. In the guild window and the guild management interface and management of keys and the guild ship management and all of that kind of thing, it's just kind of painful. And every interface they build, they for some reason don't know that every modern database has indexing and searches as a capability. And they don't give those things to us. So if they just said you can search for characters to add keys to on the guild ship interface, as I said, number one, you would have sold it, and I would be dancing in the streets over update 5.10 just from that alone. But that that is the fact that they're working on this stuff at all, and so these management and communication improvements aside, guild system improvements, the progression system, heraldry, PvP challenge, conquest improvements, that's the stuff I'm looking forward to. And let's see, to round it out, they said some companions are coming back. So what do we got? We got Doc, we got Nadia, and we got Jaisa. Dark side for sure, maybe light side, but not for sure. What do you think there on the returning companions, Seema? Any of your fan favorites included in that list?
No.
Nah. Nadia, no.
Yeah, I don't want to be Debbie Downer about it, but I have like 150 companions. And yes, I totally get it that people want their original companions back. But I never bonded with Nadia
Yeah.
on my consular. And I never ran with Doc for obvious reasons. And I didn't do Darkside Jasa, which should shock no one.
So I'm definitely happy for anyone for whom these
Yes.
were a favorite character. None of these three are that interesting to me, and I still have alerts on my two main characters for companions that have come back that I haven't gotten around to talking to yet for the past year, and I keep meaning to. I keep thinking, oh, well, I'll record it or something, blah blah blah, and I don't, so they just sit there as alerts. And these will probably sit there as alerts then too. But especially Darkside Jasa. I know a couple people. I know a couple people who really like Nadia. I don't know who likes Doc, but but I'm sure somebody likes
well,
Doc.
I read a few comments about Doc that people just found him. The people who like him just find him entertaining in the same way that Han Solo is entertaining. So
yes, I did see that Han Solo, that sort of Han Solo comparison. So if you think about it that way, maybe there is something there. And then to wrap up the roadmap, and again, it was Keith that authored this roadmap post as well, but he went into detail about player communication. They are listening to us and taking our comments seriously. He gave examples of that, so it's not just lip service. They did make changes based on participation in the PTS and discussion that came out of it. I do appreciate that. They do plan to put gameplay features on the PTS. They will not put story on the PTS. So I know there are people complaining about that because they want to, for better or for worse, people either like the story or they don't like the story. I don't think story is a thing that any author is able to just sort of like post out to a beta forum and then change. That's not the way that kind of creation works. There will be people that won't like the story. There will be people that will like the story. That's the way story works.
Right.
You read a book, you read any novel, and there's people that like it and the people that don't like it and people that are in the middle.
It still needs playtesting though, because
Playtesting,
it's painful
yes.
when in the story doesn't work.
Yes.
Like literally doesn't work. But yeah. But yes, no, it's not really appropriate to give feedback on the story that's in progress and say, oh, I don't think this person, maybe there's a grammar error in this narration here. That kind of feedback.
Maybe.
But, yeah.
But not like, oh, I think Lana Beniko should die.
Right.
You should kill
Lana
her
would
here.
never do that.
Yeah. No, my Lana would never do. Or, I mean, there was a whole Stephen King book written about the fan providing feedback to the author. The book was named Misery. That was the whole theme of that book. The super fan who thought the book should be written a different way. And that's not really, that's obviously a horror story to Stephen King, enough for him to write a whole book about it. So I don't think that's what authors necessarily are striving for, is, live feedback for them to be changing their vision for what the story is on the fly. And then they said Star Wars Celebration coming to Chicago next April 2019. I'm booked. I will be there. They said they're going to have a Cantina event there. I will be at the Cantina event. I'm going to try to have a fan meetup. I know SWTOR is working real hard to maybe do some interesting things there, and she's going to plan to be there. Definitely keep an eye out for Star Wars Celebration, and come to Chicago, and we'll have some pizza. Apples and I talk about deep dish Chicago-style pizza all the time.
Yes, they do.
I eat it all the time, though, because I'm around here. That and Chicago Italian beef, and I eat that all the time as well. But yes, so there's that, and beyond. So then the last thing they finished off with was, you can be sure the conflict between the Galactic Republic and the Sith Empire is going to explode into full-scale war that will draw your character into battle on new planets where they will fight alongside and against many new and returning fan favorite characters. So they do have a vision for where this is going to go. This is going to get bigger. This sounds like what we're getting in 5.10 is a prelude. There were notes in this whole discussion as well that Oh, the one other one I meant to double down on is up in the first or second paragraph, which was, we're doing, so master mode, gods from the machine, yada, 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 testing on the PTS, blah, 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 most difficult boss fights ever. And we are also developing additional operation content and will discuss our plans in a future roadmap. More operations are coming. Yes, we know they probably are not coming before the end of the year. Who knows if it's going to take months and months and months? Probably will. But more operations are coming. Get some more operations in the game. We need some more operations. Did I say more operations? Do I sound like the chat room? No, here, let me. Here's my impression of the chat room for the live stream. When are we going to get hood toggle? I need to know if we're going to get hood toggle. When are we, Eric, when are we get a hood toggle? If I say hood toggle, there is a number of times if I say hood toggle, the magic number of times, 42 times, then they have to answer, right? Then they have to implement it, because that's what I'm going to do now. As often as I can throughout this live stream, I'm going to type hood toggle over and over and over again. So yeah, just to be clear, there is no threshold for the number of times that you comment in a live stream that they have to answer or have an answer, even, for one. And for two, threatening to unsub, that also does not generate an answer or ensure that the feature will be implemented. So I see you in the chat room. You might think that that's the case. It is not. So stop it. So that's that. All right. So that's my summary and rant. Seema, what's your summary rant for for the roadmap?
I'll say that I'm happy to see it. I like the story part. I like the sort of intriguing aspect of how they sort of half told us about stuff. I mean, I don't mean that I like it. I mean that it's kind of drawn me into the interest. I wish that the guild stuff had been the other way around. They would have me feeling more confident if they would have said, we're going to fix some things and make the guild interface easier to use. And on top of that, we're going to add some new features. But with them leading with the new features, it makes me feel like they don't intend to do anything to make the guild interface more usable, even though they say there's more to come. And I just don't have a confidence level there. So I really wish they would address that in their quality of life stuff.
Yeah, address the biggest pain first. At least tell me that you're addressing the biggest pain, and that will make me happy. And then, and then the new features, the new guild system will be the icing on the cake. That would be a fun way to hear it. And I know that's not the same for everybody, but you're right. That would be the way we would want to hear it.
Well, I mean, and that's just for guild stuff, but I mean for everything. Like if they were going to do some work on the GTN, and first they said, and we're going to make different colors of GTN stations available as decorations as their leading thing, that would not make me feel like they're going to fix any of the underlying issues that day to day make people annoyed with the GTN.
Right.
It's just people
are commenting on your hat and your look here, Seema.
What hat is that?
That's your.
I wear this hat because I mentioned that I rated a lot on my Sage, and this was the same model as one of the early hats. But this particular one is, what is it called? I don't remember. But I just got it on the GTN. I'm pretty sure.
Additional commands: inspect player. No, it shows your eye. Okay,
yeah.
Not your outfit hat. Here, face this way. You'll be facing into the light. We'll get a good zoom in for a good close up.
I think if I look at my outfit, though, it'll say.
It might.
Ceremonial headgear. It's called
ceremonial headgear. So yes, and it was Zen who was reminding me that it was the hood toggle, and then the other thing that I saw like 50 times was Shroud of Memory. When are we going to get Shroud of Memory back? Shroud of Memory.
Yeah.
And Brian
when
from
I wear
Bad
this hat on a windy day, I just I fly off.
She just goes she just sets her speeder bike to hover and uses it as a sail, and does some sailing.
But anyway, I'm optimistic. I'm feeling optimistic about it. Of course, I love it when they provide any communication. It always makes me feel more confident for the future. So
yes, absolutely.
Yay!
And Zen did confirm. Sorry, poor Hood Toggle guy, but you were only 3 mentions away from confirming it, making the devs have to implement it. You were
He was only 3 mentions away.
you almost got there, buddy. You were just so close. If you would have got to the stream sooner or something, you were only 3 mentions away.
I do have a comment though about comments in general, and that is, if you want to stay in a good mood, you're pretty safe to read comments on Twitter. Like when SWTOR announces something, the comments on Twitter are usually pretty positive. People like it, or they make constructive criticism or whatever. The absolute worst place to read the comments is anything on Delphi. Like the articles on Delphi are great, but don't read any of the comments.
You're right, on the spectrum. Stream chat is not great, but the comments on Delphi are the worst.
Yeah.
Reddit's been in the middle lately. Reddit's been more on the positive side.
Reddit I don't mind, but yeah, on the stream I just open it up so I don't even see the chat anymore.
Reddit was pretty happy with I saw very few rage quits on Reddit this week as a point of interest. These stupid venomous lisks behind you have their name tags clipping into your hat. I don't like it. Anyway, we are wrapped up for the day as it goes, regardless. So fun times.
I thought
Roadmap.
they mentioned the New York Cantina too, didn't they?
I did not see any confirmation of that. I thought people had been talking about it on Twitter or somewhere else, but yeah, I thought I heard something about it too, Zen, but I did not see confirmation anywhere, and I did not see it in the roadmap or the stream notes, so I left that out.
I went looking for it again and I couldn't find it, so then I thought maybe I did dream it.
Yeah. So with that, I think we will wrap up. Our EPC 257 droid is ready to get dumped out of an airlock and broadcast this podcast to all of you. Please keep up with us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA. And if you know awesome people that should be checking us out, you can point them in our direction. Maybe soon they'll be able to inspect our guild information, but for now you can send them to aie-guild.org. You can send them to our YouTube channel, YouTube/New Overlords, for this podcast, and have them follow and subscribe and smash that like button there. I didn't actually say that. Ignore that. Don't smash the like button, please. I don't really care. Or check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/New Overlords. We tend to do this podcast on Tuesdays and or Thursdays, depending on when news cycles and when we're available. We're trying to do it Tuesdays at 10:30 p.m. Central, but as news has been cycling weird lately, it's been ending up on Thursdays as well. But you can catch us every week, and we will catch you later. So yeah, later everyone.
Oh my gosh. Later everyone.